If you're trying to sell something that's enigmatic, that is nebulous, that has no clarity, and there's no imagination behind it, good
Yeah.
luck with that. Good luck. No one buys anything if it's nebulous and not clear and there's no goal. You know what I'm saying?
Hello and welcome to Outer Spaces, a podcast dedicated to empowering designers and contractors in the outdoor living space. I am on a mission to scour the globe to find and interview the most brilliant mindset coaches, sales strategists, and business leaders alive, and present them in a way that landscapers, hardscapers, and outdoor living pros can immediately put them into use to grow and thrive. On Outer Spaces, we are passionate about breaking the chains of small mindsets and helping contractors just like you take control of their businesses and their lives. My name is Joshua Gillow, and through my 27 years of dirt under the nails experience, I look forward to sharing tips, strategies, and other contractor success stories here on the Outer Spaces podcast. Now, let's get on with the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Outer Spaces podcast. This is your host, Joshua Gillow, and today I have Daniel Bay back on the show. He's been my sales coach for many years, and we talk a lot about selling in 2024. You know, it's an election year. We have basically 3 quarters to make all 4 because the last quarter of the year, you just don't know what's going to happen right around election time. So we've got to be super diligent, and every lead counts more this year. So we're going to go through a bunch of different simple strategies and ideas to be considering when you're out there selling to make sure you're bringing the highest value to your clients right away. They don't have to start thinking about whether they should go with a competitor because they might offer more than you do. So if you are aware and you see what we're going to talk about in this episode and you start implementing it into your sales process, if you slow it down, if you're a detective that asks great questions about this project and you start peeling the onion like we talk about in this episode, it's going to increase your closing rate automatically. Slow it down, guys, and enjoy this episode. Good morning, landscapers, hardscapers, outdoor living professionals. This is your host, Joshua Gill, here on the Sales Made Simple page here on Facebook. And today, I have the amazing pleasure of bringing on board here Daniel Bay. He happens to be my sales coach. He's taught me a lot about the world of communication and how to better communicate with clients. And you know, I was in a bit of a pickle for most of my career. I was losing a lot of projects to the reason because I was just not knowing how to communicate with them. I didn't know how to ask questions. I was trying to get in and out as fast as possible, turn and burn projects. And Dan told me to slow the hell down and start to ask deeper questions. And I'm like, but I don't know what questions to ask and in what order and how to do that. And he showed me step by step how to do that, which eventually became the S Express sales model that we teach our industry. So, Dan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Josh. Thank you, everyone here in the group, for having me. But yeah, dude, I remember that when we role played the first time ever on what a typical sales process was for you for your clients. And I remember, dude, you gotta slow it down because you know okay, so one of the biggest, we could talk about the biggest mistakes. I think we'll start first. And when I work with clients on this across the board, it's usually taking stuff out as opposed to putting stuff in, you know? So we have to delete things from our process. And a lot of these processes are reactionary and they're very reflexive. And it's not completely your fault because, Josh, no one is born being a good salesperson. Like,
That's right.
yeah, it's an acquired skill. And it wasn't until I, over 15 years ago, realized, holy shit, I don't have the skill, is when I started embarking on learning a skill. So we start right there. I mean, slow the F down, right?
Yeah.
You know who talks fast, Josh?
I don't know who talks fast, Dan.
People who are unsure, who are not certain,
Mm-hmm.
who are hiding things, who are trying to cover up their true agenda. Okay. And I did a lot of studying with litigators in law and even went to some courses on how to be a better cross-examiner or
Mm.
witness interviewer, or how to do depositions. And one of the things they all talk about is when you have a dishonest witness, one of the ways you know is that their tempo goes up. I was like, holy shit, it's so true, you know? The other reason why we speed up a lot of the times, and this is the other way. So it's not when you talk fast and you're very quick. It's not always because you're being dishonest or shady or whatever. The other people that speak too fast and really do not take their time to eloquently express themselves are the people who really fucking love what they do. They really, really like it. They really, really, really love it. Their hardscaping is so awesome. I'm an artist. I'm an artist. I just want to share my wisdom and my artistry to the world, and I really, 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 really love it. So those people, you love your stuff so much that you turn into what's called an enthusiastic spastic.
Hmm.
Copyrighted, registered. We can't want that one. But it's so true, though.
It's true. It's
We've
right.
all been there.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, dude. And I remember very early that was my thing too. I'm like, if I could just be like super animated and super passionate about it, that the people would hire me over somebody else. And while that happens sometimes, what I found is that oftentimes they're like, nice job. You're too excitable. Go home. I don't know if you can handle what it's going to take to build this project. So
Exactly.
it's going to take a bit of slowing it down. And that's really what I want to get into today is this, so many I hear, and we do calls all the time from people in our industry that are calling in trying to figure out how to increase their closing rate. Because Dan, 3 out of 10, 30%, it's sad
Ouch.
in a sense
Ouch.
that it's so much work and the result is not nearly what it should be. It should be at least at 75% or higher. So
Mm,
7 or 8 out of 10. And so what I found in order to be able to do that is that we have to have a deeper conversation with our clients. We get so worried and so focused about, oh, our competitor's offering this kind of paver, or they have bigger crew, or they have nicer trucks, or they have something else that you don't possess, and that's why they have the ability to close at a higher rate. And you're
right.
thinking, wait a minute here, is that really true? And
Right.
I'm standing here as a testament saying that that's not true,
100%.
right? So it's a matter of, if you want to be best in your market, it's about asking the right questions, caring enough to slow down, be that detective, not to assume things, and to, I'll say it one more time, slow down. It's okay.
100%.
Take your time.
100%. The Even that pause right there, if you're watching this, it shouldn't be uncomfortable for you because people who really care about something, especially another person, they generally take the time to try to figure out what the other person truly wants, needs, or desires. And here's the next thing. If you are winging it every single day on the sales side, one of the detriments to that is that your radar is not sensitive enough to really ask the burning question that you need to be answering is, what does my client truly want, need, or desire? Josh, you just said assumptions. That is a sales killer. You assume way too much. Oh,
Yep.
this, and by the way, we all prejudge. You just can't help it. You're rolling onto a property. You already know the property value of this. You already see how the current landscaping is. You see the car in the driveway. You're already judging what's going to happen here. You see the space. You talk to the homeowner or homeowners, and you've already kind of built an avatar of what type of person this is, and you've already decided that this person wants this type of thing, or you've already decided, worst case, is this person can't afford what they actually want. So you're you're already prejudging the situation before you even ask the first question. Now,
Yeah.
if we can slow down and have a formulated workflow to ask the appropriate deep questions that gets the person across from you, this homeowner, to tell you what they truly want, need, or desire, guys, it's game over. Like, you win because all the other knuckleheads are not doing that. All they're doing is showing up, showing them how awesome my truck is. Look at my wrap job on my truck with the new logo on it. Look at my new John Deere tractor. Look at all of my team and my staff, and they're so talented. Look at my design portfolio. None of this stuff matters to them. What they really want is, can you help me get what I want? And I'm just telling y'all, by the way, I'm a consumer for landscape design, architecture, and build. Okay, I have a home, and I spend a lot of good money on designing, building, whatever. If you guys are in the Chicagoland and you want a hot lead, yo, look me up, okay? Because I'm always looking for good talent, right? I know for a fact that I want this stuff not because I want to make it look nice or I want to be the most the high ticket design in my. I want it to function because I want my kids to enjoy it, right? I
Yeah.
want to flex to my neighbors. I want to go outside and feel a certain way. You guys are selling something so deeply emotional. Like, setting up your setting, your environment. It's incredibly emotional where people literally walk out to their spaces and cry. I've seen it on TV, Josh. I know it's really happened.
Has to be real if you saw on TV. I
They
love
cry, It's
it.
so deeply emotional,
Yeah.
really deeply emotional. But your sales process is so technical. It's all based off of features. Oh, I use Unilock pavers. I don't know if that's still like the
Mm.
the, the premium. I don't know. I use imported, burnt, I don't know, reclaimed wood from Germany. Like I don't know, like you have all these like features, and you think that's what's selling.
Yeah.
And you spend so much time just espousing how great your shit is, and at the end of the day, the client's looking at you like, you know what, I'm gonna have to think about it, or I have another quote coming in,
Yep.
and then flip a coin and good luck. You know what I'm saying?
No, 100%, dude. And you're exactly right. It's exactly how I used to, approach this as well. I'm figuring if I was technical enough with all my feature knowledge that they're going to be hiring me for my ability to retain that information and to sell that information. And what I didn't realize was that when I have the opportunity to go deeper and start asking the question, peeling the onion, helping them find what they want, need, and desire. And it's not always, Dan, most of the time, it's not what they come to us with. They don't
Right.
come to us and like, hey, I need this patio because of this feeling I want from it. They're like, no, I think that if I put a patio in the backyard or a deck or a fire feature or whatever it might be, that I'm going to get this emotion. They don't think that way, but that's what they're
Right.
trying to do. They're trying to solve their own problem. It's our
Correct.
job as detectives to say, okay, I hear you. Let's go one level deeper.
Yeah.
So you mentioned fire pit, Mrs. Jones. How do you see your family using that? And then she
Oh,
says,
let me
oh,
role play this.
let's go for it.
Well, yeah. I mean, the first thing I'm gonna invite the neighbors over, and it gets a little chilly here during the early spring. And oh, we my family and I usually do like these like family planning nights where we look ahead to see what our next year is going to look like and put it all. And I'd love to do it in this space. I mean, it would be the perfect backdrop.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm sitting on
Done.
the other side. I'm thinking, all right, so he mentioned all these things with the family planning and then they want to sit around outside. It's chilly. So Dan, if you don't mind me asking, so how often will you have these kinds of meetings and want to stay warm around that fire pit?
Oh, such a good question, guys. I mean, I hope you're writing this stuff down if you're here. This is essentially, I believe, what many people are spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to learn how to do. You know, um, well, Josh, to be honest, if I had it, I'd be here every time, like 3 or 4 times a night. We could actually make it a a family tradition that we, you know, you know, get around the fire pit and the fireplace and share stories. I think it would really bring our family together. And this is exactly what I needed.
That's amazing, Dan. And how many people do you think on average would be at these gatherings?
So good. Uh, well, minimum four, and then I have my cousin that likes to come over. So maybe like 5 or 6.
And how easy do you want to be able to, get that fire going? And the reason why I'm asking this is because we can make it as simple as turning a knob and flicking a switch and you have fire, some gas, propelled unit, or we can do something that's more natural, more wood. Do you have a preference?
I wear Birkenstocks with socks, so I like wood, and I like the smell of wood. But I have a question though. I mean, I do like easy as well. Is there a way to still get the wood and still make it easy?
There are some options. We can definitely look into
Okay.
those. What I want to make sure, Dan, is that we create this space that it's not a cumbersome thing to get prepared for those events that
Yeah.
you want to, because I want to see you have them all the time. And if we
Yeah.
think through this now, and I ask some good questions, what's going to happen is I'm going to get to exactly what we need to have this space, how it's supposed to perform, so that you don't sit there when we're done and have any kind of regrets thinking like, man, I wish we would have talked it out and we would have went with gas instead of wood, because now for 2 days I smell like a burnt log and I got to go to
Yeah.
work and wash my hair and all that stuff. If we would have had a conversation, I could have been able to make that decision ahead of time. So I want to make sure we're doing that now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this is only the fire pit, one
Exactly.
function. So we're going deeper, peeling the onion, understanding exactly what this space must do, how it must perform in order for Dan and his family to get the maximum use and enjoyment. This is not about selling a fire feature. This might be a fire table at the end of the day, saving them at least 50% of the cost of a built-in fire pit and giving them at least 100% more use. This is the reason why we take our time with questions. This is the reason why we dial in. We're not in a hurry. You don't want to, if the closing rate on average in our industry is 3 out of 10, I would rather slow it down and half the leads and spend twice the time with them.
No
This
doubt.
is how you're going to close more. So if you're already running ragged, this is springtime. The world's listening right now. It's springtime because right now your phone is hopefully starting to ring. If not, it will be in a few weeks, and you're going to be chasing your tail, trying to get to everybody and just give them a little pinch of what you could do. Imagine if you stopped and you can give them a handful instead,
Hmm.
and be able to take the time, be purposeful with that time, and have questions that you can drill down into the deeper needing, the why they're doing this project, so that when you do your design. So when I come to your house, Dan, with a design, you know for darn well that we're going to have that fire pit allocated just the way we talked about, with 4 people sitting around the outside, and we're going to be thinking about whether it's wood or gas. We'll have that laid out so that when you see it, you'll be like, that's my family right there and exactly what I need. Now, just this alone, Dan, just this alone automatically changes the game between you and anybody else that came out earlier, because everyone else has said fire pit, awesome, check. Next,
Yep.
what else do you want?
Exactly. Feature, not
Yep.
benefit, not how it affects their lives.
Yeah.
And for those of you listening to this, and I know I'm kind of reading the room here, is, oh, that's just a little too emotional for me, or it's a little too, like, out there. I gotta tell you something, then you're in the wrong business. I just gotta tell you, you're in literally in the business of changing people's lives.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yep.
Physical spaces have literally changed people's lives. I'm totally a testament to that, okay? And if you're not having those deeper conversations, and we're not talking about like sitting next to them, putting your hand on their knee and singing Kumbaya and stuff, right?
Right.
But when you're asking those questions, and can I reverse? Can we just go back to the question that you had? This is a do level thing for all your viewers right now.
Sure.
Is the question you asked um, was what would it look like? Like explain, that's called a clarifying probing question. What would it look like
Yeah.
uh, for a fireplace that you're looking for. And the reason we need to ask those really open-ended, imaginary, hypothetical questions is because when there's clarity in the mind of a client, the clarity in the mind of someone that's talking to you, the closer it gets to their app's actual reality. So we all know goal setting technology, right, Josh? Like if you want to set a goal, like, so for
Yep.
example, I want to lose 30 pounds. Like I'm in healthcare, so like people have very specific goals that are measured with metrics, right? I want to have a posture like this. I want to have, I want to run a 5K, whatever. In goal setting technology, it's way easier to get someone to go toward that goal if it's more specific. I think this is right out of Tony Robbins' book too, right? If it's specific.
Yep.
So if
Smart
you're
goals.
trying
Yep.
to sell, yeah, if you're trying to sell something that's enigmatic, that is nebulous, that has no clarity, and there's no imagination behind it, good
Yeah.
luck with that. Good luck. No one buys anything if it's nebulous and not clear and there's no goal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, clarity brings certainty and certainly brings confidence. And that's what we need our clients to feel like they're moving forward with as the guides in this conversation. It is super important for us to know how to do that. And hey, Tom, thanks for sending. Yeah, this is going to be on the. He asked if we could record this. This is going to be on the page, so it'll be live in the library. But I'll keep it as a locked in thing so it doesn't disappear. But it is so important to go deeper, to find out what's driving Mrs. Jones, to find out what needs to be there, and not just say fire feature check, because that's exactly what everybody else is doing. And
Everyone
you
else is
talk about,
doing.
yep, when you talk about differentiating yourself simply by asking questions. Now, Dan, does it cost a ton of money, tens of thousands of dollars to slow it down and ask better questions? Does it?
Nope.
Nope. So you don't have
Nope.
to increase your website. You don't have to increase your marketing. You don't have to buy that new truck. You don't have to wrap that trailer. You don't have
Nope.
to go buy brand new clothes for your entire employees. This is slowing down and simply having a better conversation with your clients. That's what I'm asking you to do. You slow down and do that, you're going to build a connection. Just like you wouldn't go out and start a friendship with somebody and be like, hey, so what do you like to do? All right, rock climbing. Cool. See you there Thursday. Let's go rock climbing, and say nothing during that conversation. Just climb rocks all day. That's not what this is
Hmm.
about. This
Right.
is about slowing it down and talking about your experience rock climbing, what your favorite places you went rock climbing is, what's your level, your aptitude level of doing that. Maybe some scary things you had during that time. What does the perfect mountain look like for you? Like that's how you build a relationship. This is what we're doing, guys. We are not, and I want to drop this on the listeners right now as we wrap up. We are not in the service industry. We are not in the service industry. We are in the hospitality industry.
Oh, word. So good.
I'm telling you, I actually probably hear a couple of brains exploding. We are in the hospitality industry.
No doubt
If you want
about
to
it.
differentiate yourself, you need to slow it down. If you went to the Motel 6 and got a room versus going to the Ritz Carlton, do you think the experience would be different? You still sleep in both of them.
There's no doubt about it.
The difference is,
Hospitality.
yeah, it's hospitality at the end of the day. What are you doing to make sure your client has the best experience with you? And you start by figuring out what their true problem is, not the one you assume. To Dan's point earlier, when you drive in, you're like, oh, this is $1.4 million for this house. They got 3 cars. They have 2.5 perfect kids. They both are in healthcare. This is going to be amazing. This project always comes in at 10% of the value of the home. So I've got about 120,000 or so to play
Oh,
with. Like
so
all of this
bad.
assumption, shut
Yeah,
that
so
off.
bad.
You know
Yeah,
nothing when
so
you
bad.
walk in there. Walk in there, the dumbest
Nothing.
guy in the room.
Totally. Totally. And it goes back to the point. What a great conversation this is because if you turn out the off that assumption, that means you're going in not knowing. And that's actually
Mhm.
a good place to be. Because if you're not knowing, then you're going to naturally ask questions
Yeah,
that'll help you know, you know?
yeah,
That you really want to know what they truly, truly want, need, or desire. And I'm telling you, from over 20 years, say 23 years of experience, one thing I have learned in the sales world is that people surprise you all
every
the
time.
time. All the time, you know? And if you ask any salesperson in any industry that's worth their grain of salt, their weight in gold, is they will always tell you, I've been surprised all the time. I thought I
Yeah,
knew, but on the end of the day, I had no idea. A couple of examples I think I could imagine right now is like, the price of the project. Like you have no idea,
yep,
no idea. And another couple of assumptions could be thinking that a certain design would work better for them. Now, maybe based on your expertise, it would, but we have to stifle that right now and figure out what they truly, truly want. Even if you don't think it's a good idea, you know what I'm saying?
yep,
It's what they want. It's their thing. You
yep.
know, someone wants to paint their whole room pink. Okay, I don't think that's a good idea, but it's what you want, and I'm here to give you what you want and educate what you on what you could have.
That's right. And don't be afraid as a sales professional to challenge them. Say, Mrs. Jones, I understand you want to paint that room pink. Have you considered A, B, and C? And
Hmm.
let them consider it. You're the guide. You're guiding them, and no more than that. You're not here
Trusted
to judge
advisor.
their. Yeah, exactly. A
Yeah.
trusted advisor going through and say, well, pink would work, but if you were really want, to have, purple as your accent color, those two just don't jive. I'm just making shit up here. But the point is,
Hmm.
being part of just like the fire pit, hey, if you are looking for a fire pit, if you don't burn it that often, if that's what's uncovered during the discovery process, that they don't burn this
Hmm.
fire pit that often, or they have family members that are allergic to smoke, then you stop and you say, then why are we even considering a wood burning fire pit here? Why is that even no? Let's talk about gas. Let's see if they have the budget or the want for that. And if they don't, do a fire table. It's going to cost much less. You're going to save them money. So when they say they want a fire pit, you might say, hey, that fire pit's going to be, $5,000 to $10,000, whatever. And you say, but we could for about 2 to 4 grand, we can put in a beautiful fire table that you can move around. And if you're only going to burn it 3 times a year, you can take
Hmm.
that, put it in the garage for the times you're not using it. The other 362 days of the year, that could be a space that you could have dinner. And that fire pit's not in the middle of that patio, because if you build it out of stone, it's there forever. And you just start the gears running. You see them in their mind, the gears are running, and they're thinking, wait a minute here, this guy's not trying to sell me anything. He's trying to solve problems for me. He's asking me questions and helping me find out what I truly want, need, and desire, not what
Hmm.
I think I do. And that's when you leave a client with a feeling versus just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
They say, wait a minute here. It seems like this guy actually cares enough to slow it down and ask me good questions. And that automatically, to full circle this, Dan, this automatically brings you back to a higher level in your client's mind, right? Because the client feels like they're being cared for and that they're being
Yeah.
taken care of. And do you think that price is the number one thing on their mind then?
No, no, and I'm glad you brought up price because if we're talking thinking price way too early in this, you've already missed the boat.
Yeah.
And here's another assumption. I don't think this client can afford what they're actually looking for. I mean, if depending on where you are in this process, the first discovery is deciding exactly what they want, and then we work it from there, right?
Yep.
But even the fire table analogy, it's great because emotionally they're looking to do something. Have a family meeting around the fire, okay? Whatever. This is a true story. What if, okay, someone in their family and they're like 1/8 Cherokee Indian, let's just say, okay, and they want to bring back a culture that's lost in the family for over generations, whatever. Like Imagine if they told you that,
Yeah.
you know, then that changes the way that you can problem solve for them. Just like Josh said, fire pit, table, fireplace, whatever it is. The front of mind is from the sales perspective, I want to provide that for my client. So, what are the other options that I can propose to have that type of gathering the way they're imagining it,
Yeah.
right? As opposed to just another random option, right?
Yeah.
And that, guys, if you can accomplish that when the door closes behind you, game over. And the crazy thing is, if you can establish that, generally, your average ticket price is 2, 3x what they would normally pay with somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay. Even with the same level of skill, let's say pound for pound, same materials, same skill level, same design work, whatever, just by mere virtue of doing this, your value just went up 2, 3x.
It's
Game
true.
over.
And while price is always a consideration, it is not the primary consideration when you start going
Correct.
deeper. So if you guys want to increase your closing rate, go from that average of 3 per 10, 30% up to, dare I say, 60, 70, 80%, slow it down. Ask better questions. And if you need help with that, that's what we're here for. DM me. I'd be more than happy to take a look at what you have going on right now and give you some pointers and possibly even an entire system that you can integrate, plug right into your business that this is already done for you. That's what
Yeah.
we do.
And what I love about you, Josh, and I just want to, he's too humble to mention this, but almost every conversation he has with every one of his prospective clients, they leave with some type of value like this.
Always.
Even if you never decide to work with Josh, the fact that on this call that he's already asked you some questions on how you're doing things and leave you on that call with due level strategies on how to do your next quote or your next call is pretty generous. I think personally too generous, but that's who you are, man. So you should hop on a call with this guy and see where he can help you plug some holes.
I appreciate that, Dan. Thank you. That's very kind. So, guys listening out there, if you have any situation you're running to, if this is something new to you, the idea of asking questions and not just trying to just deal with tons of volume, and you want to increase your closing rate, don't be afraid to reach out. We're here to help and to get you to that point. And I've been in this industry now almost 30 years, and I've made all the wrong decisions and made all the mistakes in order to learn what works and what doesn't work. So hopefully you don't have to do that too. So Dan, thanks for coming on here, and guys, see you next time.